Hello everyone, this is for NASTI Dynasti here, where we teach you how to be nasty. Today, we'll be having our first financial education book review, which is about, drumroll please, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. In the book review series, I will be sharing what I learned from the book, as well as how we can all implement all the lessons into our daily lives. I will also be sharing my personal insights to the book, as well as who I will recommend it to. In the book, Robert Kiyosaki, who is a well-known businessman and investor, uses examples of his poor dad, who is his biological father, as well as his rich dad, which is his best friend's father. From the age of 9, Kiyosaki embarked on his journey of financial education, learning many different things from both fathers, which made him into the man that he is today. I remember when I was still 9 years old,
I was still learning how to ride a bike.
After reading the book, I have summarized it into 7 steps on how we can all work towards becoming rich. The first step is to keep an open mind. Kiyosaki emphasizes that we should not be arrogant. Instead, we should always seek to learn and gain knowledge from the people around us. If you ask me, to even finish the book, I think you will need to have an open mind in the first place. This is because Kiyosaki introduces a lot of foreign concepts that may sound like complete BS to us because of the way that we were raised. Once we are willing to analyze instead of criticize, we will then be able to gain as much knowledge as possible from the book and change our mindset from a poor one to a rich one. After keeping an open mind, the second step is to recognize and manage our emotions. There are many things that people don't talk about, and that's mostly about their fears. We usually dismiss subjects that talk about our fears because we are uncomfortable with it. As a result, we do not recognize our fears, moreover, even try to get rid of them. As we grow older with a poor mindset, we will only have more and more fears. Kiyosaki brings up the example of the fear of not being able to put rice on your children's plates, the fear of losing a relationship, and most importantly, the fear of losing money. By having an open mind, we will not only be able to recognize our fears, but we will also analyze it to try and come up with an ideal solution that can get rid of it. Kiyosaki also mentions a second emotion, which is greed, also known as desire. I'm sure that we all know that the reason why we really work hard is to get that paycheck so that we can buy the latest Prada bag. However, putting the feeling of desire aside, will we really choose to remain in our current jobs for the rest of our lives, living paycheck after paycheck? There is a voice inside of us telling us that we should go ahead and start something new. But there is also another voice inside of us, which is the cynical voice that tells us that we won't be able to do it. What if you fail? Why can't you just suck it up like the rest and continue with your life? The people around us will also be making a lot of comments that will be holding us back. Kiyosaki regards these comments as noise. By managing our emotions and listening to the noise around us objectively, we will be able to come up with more solutions that can help us solve our current ordeal. After we have done our due diligence to mitigate our risks as much as possible, the next step will be to execute it. However, regardless of how much blood, sweat, and tears that we have put into this project, we may always fail. Kiyosaki mentions this quote: "Failure inspires winners and defeats losers." The richest man in the world has never not lost money. The fastest swimmer in the world has never not lost a competition. And the best scientist in the world has never not failed an experiment. As winners in our society, they pick themselves up after every single mistake, learn from them, and come back even stronger. Kiyosaki emphasizes that with a rich mindset, we will not fear losing, but hate it. Whenever we make a loss or fail at something, we will hate losing so much that we will constantly try to improve ourselves and learn from our mistakes such that we will be successful in the future. After recognizing our emotions and deciding to change up our lifestyle, The next step will be to understand what is the difference between an asset and a liability. The easiest explanation that Kiyosaki uses is that an asset puts money into my pocket, while a liability takes money out of my pocket. We will need to pay off the liabilities with the highest interest rates that are eating money out of your pocket every single month without you noticing. Afterwards, we will then be able to allocate more of our income into building our asset column. After doing this for a few years, we will decrease our liabilities greatly while increasing our asset columns to a large extent. This will help improve our cash flow, which can help with early retirement. After doing this for a long time, we will start to realize that the real income is generated not from paychecks, but from assets. This will teach us to mind our own business. Wait, hold on. Before you ask, what does it mean to mind your own business? Let me bring forth this quote. Money is the best employee. They work 24/7 for you to generate more employees to help with your business. Now that you have heard this quote, I'm sure you understand what Kiyosaki is trying to explain. After you start to allocate money into your asset column every month, you will start to realize that it is tougher for you to pay off your liabilities. Let's say, for example, your monthly income is $3,000. You allocate $1,000 monthly to build up your asset column. You have $2,000 remaining. However, during Chinese New Year, you will need to give up a lot of ang paos. So let's say you give up $500 worth of ang paos. That leaves you with $1,500 left to pay off your mortgages, credit bills, bank loans, as well as your expenses. Some, if not most of you, will feel that this $1,500 is not enough to pay for your mortgages, credit card bills, bank loans. As a result, you will take money that you have allocated into assets to pay off these liabilities. However, Kiyosaki thinks that this is absolutely the fourth step that I will be introducing will be giving me a lot of hoo-has. But remember, keep an open mind
if you want to be rich.
Now, the fourth step is about building habits and self-discipline. The number one habit that Kiyosaki mentions over and over again in this book is to pay yourself first. By paying yourself first, what Kiyosaki really means is to allocate money first into your assets, then to your expenses and liabilities. Kiyosaki emphasizes this point with an example of being a boss of a company. Okay, let's imagine that you are the boss. Your company right now isn't really in a very good situation. As a result, you can only choose to pay yourself first or pay your employees first. Let's say, being the nasty person that you are, you will definitely want to pay your employees first, right? By paying your employees first, you will have a smaller paycheck. Imagine every single day that your business is not doing well, you will be eating cai fan, porridge. You cannot even eat McDonald's because it is too expensive. But let's say that you are nasty and you have a rich mindset. That's when you will pay yourself first before your employees. With all the angry employees, all the angry suppliers, as well as the banks that you have owed money to with your company, who do you think will give you more pressure? Yourself not being able to eat McDonald's, or all these angry people? Hold on. Don't leave yet. Remember, you have to keep an open mind and welcome new concepts in. Like for example, liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Kiyosaki brings forth a point that when we go through all of this pressure, only then will we force ourselves to really think hard on the different ways that we can earn money. This could be finding new investment opportunities, coming up with new innovations, or whatever it takes, as long as you can pay off your employees as well as your liabilities. I'm sure that some of you might still think that this is complete BS. If you choose not to implement this into your life, you can go ahead. However, always ensure that you do not liquidate your assets. It will definitely matter less when you choose to allocate lesser money in the month into your assets than when you choose to liquidate your assets. By doing so, we will completely lose focus in building our asset column. We will also stop thinking about any potential solutions that we can use to solve the problem because we have money elsewhere, right? As a result, we have to have the self-discipline to stick through our habits so that we are constantly looking for opportunities and learning as much as we can to improve our cash flow to build the rich mindset. We will start to see our assets column slowly building up while gaining more and more experience in our current field of investment. However, there will come a point where we decide to explore more investment opportunities rather than the current one that we are always doing. For example, someone who uses stocks as his primary form of investment to build up his asset column may choose to venture into the world of property investment. Therefore, the fifth step will be to invest in ourselves, in particularly our minds. Before we dive into a new investment trend, we have to first gain some proper education about it to think about whether it is a good investment choice and whether it defies our fundamentals. We should also look into investment into courses that are able to give us a proper education of the new area of investment. For example, Kiyosaki spent $500 on his first real estate investment course, which helped him to gain millions in the future. If it is necessary to spend money on your own education, please do not be afraid to spend it. Some of my friends have told me that they wanted to learn about investment. When I talked to them 6 months later, they have yet to even create a brokerage account. I personally feel that we should only start our investment journey when we have accumulated sufficient knowledge. You see that I emphasize on the word sufficient because there is simply no end to learning. If we keep focusing on learning concepts rather than learning from real life experience, we will be learning at an extremely slow pace. Kiyosaki also emphasizes that we should work to learn and not work to earn. Since we already know that true income lies in our assets, not our paychecks, we should look into learning as much skill sets as possible from our jobs. Kiyosaki mentions that once we feel that we are no longer learning as much things from our current job, we can always look into changing into another job to learn more skill sets. Your main priority should not be in your paychecks but in learning skill sets, because your main form of income generation is already from your assets. When we continue to move from job to job, from investment to investment, from learning different courses to learning even more courses, we will eventually get burnt out. There will definitely be a point where we tell ourselves that, okay, I think this is enough. I am comfortable with where I am. However, remember, with a rich mindset, we will never ever stop learning. Therefore, Kiyosaki mentions this second last step, which is intrinsic motivation. Once again, on the power of your mind. For example, we can have long-term and short-term goals that we want to achieve in terms of habit building and our financial education. Kiyosaki recommends to have a list of wants and don't wants that can inspire you constantly. Something that is very close to the heart. Back when I was young, my father was the sole breadwinner of the family and did not have sufficient income for us. As a result, every Chinese New Year, my dad had to take up credit card loans to help pay for our new clothes. This is one of my examples of don't wants. I definitely do not want my family in the future to live on credit card loans and not being able to afford necessities. My aunt, who is more well off than my father, will often treat my entire extended family to expensive meals at well-known restaurants. She will also bring my grandparents out as well as bring them overseas. When I was young, I often looked up to my aunt and wanted to treat my family equally as well, if not better. After reading the book, I realized that I am capable of so much more and that I will do whatever it takes to reach that point. What are your wants and don't wants? Let me know in the comment section below and share it with the entire NASTI Dynasty so that we can continuously motivate each other. Kiyosaki also emphasizes the importance of having role models in our lives. Many a times, people ask us who are our life's greatest role models. The answer will often be our parents. I personally feel that my parents are my greatest role models when it comes to personal values and morals. I have learned so much from my parents, and even today, I am still learning how to be more grounded to my own personal values. However, I believe in life, we can have role models for many different aspects. For example, my parents may not be the best role models for my financial education. For myself, who I am looking for to be a financial education mentor and role model is someone who has grown up in a similar background as me, has a stacked portfolio, and is very willing to share his knowledge with others. Once we have our role models, we can start to think to ourselves, how would he or she react to this situation? This will help us to get our creative brains thinking and unlock our inner money-making self. Now that we have learned how to motivate ourselves, we are now able to sustain our endless journey of education and investment, which will lead us to the final step, which is to be willing to give. Once we embark on this journey, there will be a point where we reach a level where we are able to help people who are less financially educated than us, as well as form more connections with people that are more financially educated than us. Kiyosaki emphasized that if you want to learn about money, teach it to someone else. A torrent of new ideas and final distinctions will come in. To be rich, we need to be good teachers and good students. As we impart knowledge on others, we will further solidify our financial education mindset. And who knows, we may even have a eureka moment and come up with possible ideas and investment opportunities that can help us greatly in the future. Moreover, we should also be willing to share our wealth with others, be it family members or even strangers. One example can be donating money to charitable organizations. Kiyosaki mentions that he who gives shall receive. He also mentions that in some way or another, we will receive whatever we give. However, when giving, we should have the mentality that we will not be receiving anything back, such that we are giving from our kokoros. I would like to wrap up this book's reflection by saying that this book has provided me with a completely different new mindset. Being Singaporeans, we were always told what we should be when we were older. For examples, doctors or even lawyers. We were also taught that the only way to be successful is to work your way slowly up the corporate ladder. The elderly generation always feels that going to university is the only way to go, and that being a manager is even better than being a business owner because you handle less of the stress. However, we all know that they provide all this information to us, be it whether it's accurate or not, because they love and they care for us. The reason why our parents always tell us to study hard is because they want us to do the things that they didn't do so that we can be more successful than them. In university, I want to learn as much as I can from school as well as from taking in overseas exchange programs so that I am able to gain personal insights and experience from working overseas. I will try my best to juggle my education, side business, YouTube, as well as investments as a small step to trying to become rich. I hope that by exchanging a small part of my youth, I will be able to have a head start in becoming successful in the future. I understand that this new mindset and the 7 steps may not work for everyone as we are all generally different. If I were to name the hardest thing to change in a human other than the size of their calves, it will be their mindsets. I will recommend this book to anybody of any age with an open mindset who is looking to learn something new or looking for a change in their lifestyle. I would like to emphasize that this book summarizes how the top 2% of the world thinks. If we can adopt just a small part of their thinking, we will experience a drastic change in our lifestyles. And what is the most important is the first step. Thank you for staying to the end of the video, and I hope that you have learned something new. Always remember, stay nasty.